In a world of glitz and glam, flashing lights and screaming fans, most people are unaware of the war that rages behind the scenes. And that war includes your favorite artist and your favorite songs. This is The Dark Side of Songwriting. Hosted by Nayim Edwards.
The Department of Homeland Security defines trafficking, also known as human trafficking or trafficking in persons, as a crime that involves the exploitation of people for labor or commercial sex acts through the use of force, fraud, or coercion. The act of trafficking includes recruiting, transporting, transferring, harboring, and receiving. The means of trafficking includes threat of force, use of force, deception, coercion, abuse of power, and or abuse of position of vulnerability. The purpose of trafficking is always exploitation. Traffickers may use a variety of methods to lure victims, including violence, manipulation, false promises of well-paying jobs, and romantic relationships. Trafficking can happen in any community, and victims can be of any age, race, gender, or nationality. Victims can be found in many different industries, including child care, elder care, the drug trade, massage parlors, nail and hair salons, restaurants, hotels, factories, and farms. Before we get started, shout out to Vic of NSCENT and shout out to Katrina at Same Old Gossip Reheated for going to the website and ordering some merch. Shout out to Theo, Xavier Land, and Brian Tisdale for y'all's financial contributions to the show. And shout out to the new clients that went over and booked consultations. I look forward to working with y'all. You know, I keep y'all confidential unless y'all want to be shouted out by name, because that's just how we do business over here. I appreciate all of y'all for y'all's contribution to what we do over here. Because of y'all, we can talk heavy how we gonna talk today. And we keeping it lean and mean because it's a lot to unpack and talk about with Diddy. Let's just jump in. You know, the first question is, why is this happening now? Why all of a sudden? Why is this moving along so swiftly when it comes to Diddy? And I know that people want to attach this to some type of larger conspiracy, considering that we have over 20 CEOs of major companies all of a sudden resigning and stepping down from their position. Atlantic Records they just dropped 50 people. They've been dropping people for the past 2 years, like people who work in there, like engineers. They're dropping people who was on salary and payroll and stuff and just getting contractors to do the work and stuff. Everybody's pretty much jumping out of the frying pan directly into the fire. Why is this happening now? This is happening now because it's time to set a new precedent for the way that the world is going. What are you talking about, Nayim? What does that even mean? Let's do this exercise right quick. How many times have you bobbed your head or heard a song about flying somebody out, or you seen somebody online talk about flying somebody out? How many times have you heard lyrics about, if you do this, I'll buy you a purse. If you do this, I'll buy you a body part. She sucked me or did something and I bought her something. How many times do we come across those type of lyrics, you know, pretty often? How many times have you gave your homegirl a ride to her D appointment? All of these things are considered sex trafficking. Even if you pay somebody, you know, they can go as far down as giving somebody money for an Uber to come have sex with you. That is considered sex trafficking. You know, hip hop has done a very, very bad job of electing its representatives, because we tend to elect the people that are the most degenerate, the most ignorant, the most wild, the most chaotic, especially considering that nobody can really get a stranglehold. They have the stranglehold financially, obviously, because most people in rap don't own anything and they don't really have any type of control over what goes on with the finances of this genre. But when it comes to impact and influence, nobody has been able to outlap hip hop since its birth. It doesn't matter if Toby Keith walk in the room, if 50 Cent's in the same room. Everybody gonna flock over to 50, and that's just how it go. I'm seeing that they're writing this new precedent. They're setting this new precedent so that they can make it easier to pretty much throw people in jail for life, as far as, because it's not just going to be rappers. Because if they allow this to happen with Diddy, and by the way, this is not an endorsement, I am not caping for this man, but if they allow what Boosie says are normal practices, because they are normal practices, because people have their network of people that they trust, people have the sneaky, deviant things that they like to do, that they like to keep behind closed doors, that you can't just walk into a random city and get somebody. You could, but you run the risk of that person running their mouth or suing you, or not being down with that level of freakiness that you have become used to. You can't take that to no small town, or take that to no you can't just take that into regular society. You run the risk of really pretty much being put on the chopping block earlier than you are, because make no mistake about it, if you're out here committing these kind of crimes, because everything is about sex except sex. Sex is about power. If you're out here committing these kind of crimes, it's only a matter of time before it catch up to you. And I don't cry when chickens come home to roost. But if they allow this to happen with Diddy, that means he's the first domino to fall, which he's not the first domino to fall, but because, you got R. Kelly, they didn't do Bill Cosby for that. They hit R. Kelly with the Freako Rico. But if they allow this to happen with him, that means they can come after everybody with the same rule, because once it's put on record, now we have something to refer back to when we're accusing a person of doing such a thing, right? What's even more interesting about this is the silence and the compliance. Silence is 100% compliance when it comes to this. And we've gone over this, so let's go over this again. The fact that people have decided that, I don't have a problem with you telling your story. I don't have a problem with you telling what happened. There's a time and a place for everything. There's a time for peace. There's a time for war. But a lot of these people that have come out, and people that are coming and telling their story, they're attention whoring, and they're doing it not because they're like, oh, now I can feel safe and I can feel like it's time for me to come out and it's time for me to tell my truth, whatever that means, because there's only one truth. But they do this because they didn't get their way. That's my problem with a lot of the stuff that is going on with this, is because a lot of this stuff is being revealed because people didn't get their way. It's not like people could have been building these cases for years and years, but I highly doubt it. With him, probably, for real, but with these other little small things, now any old thing that can be said, they're gonna take the word for it, because can you go back 30 years and investigate something you can't find all over dead people's testimony? We'll leave that to the armchair litigators to do. I want to kind of backtrack for a second when we talk about setting the precedent for a second, before we get into even more of why people are deciding that they want to be quiet, which for the people who just don't have the attention span, they're quiet because they feel like if they be quiet enough, they won't be wrapped up in it, and that's not true. But when we talk about setting the precedent, think about it like this. The reason that this whole freak off and the 100 bottles of baby oil and the 800 dildos and all these freaky chamber things and people being drugged to the point where they need, he got a whole minute clinic in his house to give people IVs and stuff. Very disturbing, by the way. Think about it like this. As a musician, because we got a lot of y'all over here. A lot of people don't do music over here, but a lot of people do music. As a musician, as a person who will find success, because if you hear, you will find success. However that, means to you. Your tolerance is built. It's like people who do drugs, because fame is a drug, and these people are on cocktails that you can't even think up, right? when you're living in a world as a musician where once you find that success and you get that success, it's like a runaway train. Like I said the last time, no does not exist. The word no doesn't exist. So you got to think about, you came into the game as a regular person, and having one girl was good enough for you. So now, after you done did all of that, now you need 2 at a time. Once you done got used to that, now you want to do 3 at a time. So on and so forth until you hit a number that is just, that you just can't, you know, it's you've hit your limit to whatever that number would be. 4, 5, 6, I don't know. Then once you get used to that 4, 5, 6 at a time, the tolerance is in there. It's not exciting no more. It's not thrilling no more. Now you might introduce toys into the picture. I'm just giving you some type of streamlined thought of how people even get to being like Diddy. You start bringing toys into the bedroom and all these other mechanical gadgets and things, right? Once you're tired of the toys, you're tired of the group, you're going back to square one with the toys, so you have 1 or 5 with the toys or whatever, you might start leaning into bringing another man into the bedroom with you and your woman. So now you done brought a man in. And once you done got used to that, you might bring multiple men in. And once you get tired of that, you might just stay over there with me the whole time. And then you'll get tired of that. And now you start mixing drugs in with what you're doing. And then you get tired of that. So every time you do something new, you get that new high, you hit that ceiling. So now you got multiple people, multiple objects, multiple drugs, multiple genders, all in the bedroom. You get tired of that. What's next? You might start moving into more aggressive practices in the bedroom, non-consensual practices in the bedroom, role play that is disturbing. People go further than that. They start bringing animals. And the worst of all, they start bringing children. Involuntarily, no child can consent. Nobody on drugs can consent. We've said this. I feel like we say this once a month. Intoxicated people cannot consent. Children cannot consent. You can't. You just can't. You're not of sound mind, and a child is a child. And this is how these people even get to the point of having thousands of bottles of who knows what and lube and all these other extracurricular things that happen in the bedroom. They just wanted to make the most extreme case so it's easy to grab the low-hanging fruit. Because if I shake that tree hard enough, the rest of y'all is going to fall out. This is why these people don't speak up. We just falling right into it. Like I said, we doing lean and mean today because I'm trying to go. Not saying anything and getting out here and not speaking and not being like, I was with it because I thought it was cool. It was just business, like the criminal Shine Poe getting out here. They calling him the Belize Obama. You getting out here acting like you was an innocent child who was tricked into doing something. I feel like you were a very willing participant, but get your rebrand on. I feel like I've rebranded before myself, so it's all good. I guess. People think if they don't say nothing, then it creates a disconnect instead of saying, this ain't what I thought it was. I can't believe, or I can't believe, or I saw signs and I got up out of there. They won't do that because they don't know how to handle a situation like this, because most of them are guilty of the same practices. They're guilty of the same things that he's guilty of. It might not be on the biggest scale. It might not be as in depth. It might not be as freaky, but they're guilty of the same things that he's guilty of. So they feel like if they just shut their mouth long enough, it'll pass. He'll railroad it. And he won't say nothing. Before I get into the internet chatter, because it's really cut and dry with that. They're not going to speak up because they scared they skeletons is going to come falling out the closet too. Like I said, you shake that tree long enough and something's going to fall out of it. My problem with writers in the music business is y'all know these things happen and y'all was so busy gatekeeping and y'all was so busy living high on the hog or thinking you living high on the hog that you didn't say nothing about these things when they was happening in the moment. I get up here and I talk about the stuff that be happening to me. The stuff, I'm not telling secondhand accounts of a lot of these bad things that's happened. I tell these accounts because I was there. I tell these accounts because I worked with labels before. I worked with artists before. I worked with very high-ranking people before that have screwed me over like they screwed other people over. I'm not exempt. I'm not magic or the anomaly. And the problem with a lot of y'all is you think you're going to be the kid that did. You think you're going to be the exception to the rule. There is no exception to the rule. There is the rule, and that is it. So y'all got out here and, oh man, I'm working with Diddy and I'm out here with Chris and I'm doing this and I'm over here with that, but you can't pay your rent and this person didn't pay you and this person flew you out there and this person laced your blunt and this person drugged you out and this person stole everything from you and you was just so embarrassed that you didn't want to tell your story. You were so embarrassed by the fact that you actually thought that you were going to be the anomaly in a situation that you decided to not say nothing and now it's okay to speak. You know, miss me with that. Like, I can't sympathize with that because that's really what a lot of this stuff is. And if these things happen to y'all the way y'all said they happen to y'all and y'all know how bad that people want to be in this industry, why don't you get up here and do this? Why don't you get up here and tell the truth about what happens with these people? Because this is the music business. Like I said, everything is about sex except sex. Sex is about power. These people, oh, you gonna fuck for the beat? Suck my dick for the beat? I'm gonna give you a deal because you fucked me. Shout out to Caribou and Yachty. I'm gonna fuck with you because we having sex. Shout out to Hitmaker and Tink. You don't want to fuck me? Well, you ain't gonna have no career. You can put anybody in that. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how these things go. And instead of y'all getting out here, but you know what? I can kind of understand why you don't come out and say nothing. Because you pussy. But like, I can understand why you don't come out and say nothing. Because you don't even know what the fuck you doing. You rather it look like something than it actually be something. That's y'all's problem. But I'm not going to beat y'all down too bad today because I beat you down enough. Because I'm going to keep doing it until you fucking realize that you're special, but not in the way that you think. You're not going to go into Diddy's house and think that Diddy's going to cut you the check when Diddy has a history of not paying motherfuckers. Or Diddy has a history of fucking people over and not fulfilling his promises and not keeping his word. And you think because, oh, I'm so real, I'm coming through. Bro, real nigga is just a box to keep you beat down and burdened with getting fucked over. Because if I can convince you that being a real nigga or being solid or being family, whatever the fuck that is, if I can convince you that that is more important than doing good business, I can tell you anything. I can do anything to you. It won't fucking matter what I do to you because it's about the family. I can put the Ciroc bottle in your hand. It's about the family. Now, I ain't gonna pay you like he did Diddy Dirty Money. Motherfucker made a fucking $1 billion off that fucking Ciroc. And they had to show up and promote the shit. And they couldn't even get fucking paid. Motherfuckers is dying. All these artists is dying broke, dying tragically. Nigga going through blowing up cars and shit. And niggas is too pussy to realize that the power is within you. You don't have to participate in these systems, make your own. That's neither here nor there. Internet chatter. The internet is just so full of people who woulda, coulda, shoulda, and ain't never did a motherfucking thing. Motherfuckers, oh, why were his kids is complicit. Okay, most of his children are grown. He does have children that are not grown. However, at the end of the day, that is still his, like, those are still his children, and those children love him, flaws and all. Just like if your mama smoked crack, if somebody called your mama a crackhead, that would hurt you. A lot of y'all really would be foster kids if it wasn't for your grandma giving up her fucking elderly and adult years to raise you because of the household you come from. But you don't want to talk about that. Like, let's just keep it fucking real, bro. Those kids are going to be there for him because they're his fucking children. That's all they fucking know. That's the only life they've ever known. And they could know or they could not know. Because how many times have somebody died in our family and we found out all the secrets after they died. Grandma died and you find out that grandma, your cousin from your other aunt was actually your sister because grandma had her as a kid or some shit. Like, all type of shit comes out after the fact. Just because, like, the internet is, you looking at shit, but you don't understand what you're looking at because you don't have a full story. It's so much of that woulda, coulda, shoulda, or I woulda did this. You wouldn't have done a motherfucking thing because shit happen every day that you don't do shit about. So what the fuck are you gonna do with that? You're gonna go and support your parent. You're gonna go and support this shit. And what makes me just be like, you know, this, looking at this shit and it's radioactive as a bitch, is just that people think everything is funny. It's a joke. This shit not funny. This shit not a joke. This is real people and real people fucking lives that's affected by this psychosis and this really psychopathy in general and this sex deviant. And everybody just, oh, the diddler and this and that. And it's fun. Like, it's funny because you're a fan. It's funny because it's not your career on the line. It's funny because it wasn't your life. It's funny because you never had to go to a studio and have a motherfucker make you work for 4 fucking months on a project and you don't get paid. Yes, it can be funny and you can make jokes because you don't have a talent. You've never been, nobody's ever, you don't even have anything to fucking exploit. You're just fucking lame. Like, of course it can be funny when it's not you. And that's a lot of the problem with this culture, is that it's always, we're living in it for real over here because we understand that we don't walk outside of our houses acting like it could never be us. We don't walk outside of our houses thinking that we are so special and such an anomaly that we can't be victimized or things can't happen in real life. And not saying that we'll be fucking picked up in a van and a needle stuck in our neck and drove off somewhere, but it's not that it can't happen. You can think it can happen, period. That's just kind of what it is. You could be at the grocery store, get gunned down in front of the fucking cucumbers because somebody else felt like doing that shit. You don't have no control over that. Aside from being able to prepare yourself and being a righteous person and standing up for something. But it's always a fucking joke. Because we pick and choose what's funny. We pick and choose what we like. We pick and choose, you know, what's acceptable and what's not. You should be disgusted and disturbed by the fact that so many of the people that we know, because Diddy is the gangster that niggas think they are. Niggas think they're gangster, but Diddy is the real gangster. Murders, alleged. Murders, blowing shit up, sex trafficking, drug dealing, interstate commerce drug dealing, running hoes, pimping. This is the gay as fuck. Like, this is the gangster that niggas rap about. That's why they want to be around him so bad. Because he is what they are in their songs lying about. So when niggas get on from my nigga Diddy view, I think I see his vision too. Everybody's complicit. Everybody knows what the fuck was going on. You wasn't going to the Diddy party and not having no knowledge about what was happening. You was there. Oh, I left early. Yeah, it could be cool in the beginning, but if you there after everybody gone and now it's time to bust up backs. You didn't say nothing because you knew that getting your back bust up meant something good was coming for you. Knew that if you let this man do whatever he want and have his way with you, or sell your body to him, or sell your body to multiple people, because that's all these people are, they're prostitutes. If you sell your body and sell your soul and rent it out and give it away to everybody, that there was going to be some type of fortune that come for you. You might get the connection to get the deal. You might be able to go into the room and somebody give you this. You might be able to go over there and get what you want. You might be able to start this and start that. With the way the economy is going, all that is over. Like, this is why everything is coming crashing down right now. It's not a, I mean, I guess it could be a conspiracy in the textbook definition of what a conspiracy is, but like, this is why these things are happening right now. There's no more money in the economy. There's no more money to be had. Money does not flow seamlessly through anyone's hands anymore. Everything is tight. So now it's time to start taking back and humiliating the people who have acquired the majority of the stake and the wealth in entertainment. Because we don't need Bad Boy. We don't need any of these things anymore. We don't need it. Y'all, people aren't even putting out, people sucking whipped cream cans now and getting high and giving themselves brain damage. Whippets and all this other crazy ass shit. All these people, to me, everybody's fucking complicit. Everybody is guilty. All of them. And you're guilty by not only association, you're guilty by omission when you decide that your career is more important. Because this is what get me. I'm gonna end right here because I ain't trying to go all over the place again with this, but what get me about this whole situation is the fact that motherfuckers knew it was kids in the room at one point, and we didn't hear about it the same day that you was in that room with those children. I would like to know why. And if I was a judge, that right there would get everybody locked up. So if we doing one, let's round them all up. Let's get all of them off the street. If we Operation Street Sweeping, let's sweep them all the fuck out of here. Because as far as I'm concerned, you're all guilty. My bad. But you're all fucking guilty. All disgusting. All deviant. All perverts. All PDF files. A disgusting lot of people. And it's crazy and everything's fucking funny. Until it's not. This is the dark side of songwriting.